This is Charlie Mike, the podcast. Veterans helping veterans, talking about things happening in the veteran community, things we've experienced and overcome, such as addictions, PTSD, depression, legal trouble, and we also promote veteran-owned businesses. If you're talking about it, we're talking about it. This is Charlie Mike, the podcast.
What's up, man?
Man, brother, just living life, man. It's been fun.
How you been? Well, first of all, let me introduce you to the guys that people that don't know. My special guest today is William Garay Jr. Now, he is an entrepreneur, a veteran, a leadership coach, and most importantly, a great father. So
I thought you were going to say my friend.
man, that too. My bad. That too. Yeah. Yeah. So how you been, man? How's everything going?
Hey, man, life is good.
Yeah.
I'm blessed. It's been a whirlwind, man. What it feels like.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about it a lot. Life comes in rhythms, seasons. Just keep growing, keep learning. And I appreciate the introduction, man. It's been good. It's been really, really good.
Man, I've always told you from like the beginning of time that I'm a big fan and I see everything you're doing. And it's amazing, man. You're everywhere in Pearland now, and I see it. And how's it feel, man, to be probably one of those faces that's noticeable?
Pretty good. Better than being on a wanted picture. You know what I mean? I tell a lot of folks it's been work. It's been work. You know, you got to do the best that you can. But one thing I have learned is it's the presence, man. Being present with people, giving them your time, showing you care, being authentic. Like,
Yeah.
goes a long, long way.
Yeah, man. So what are you doing now? So I know you're in, what are you not doing, should I say?
Man, all right. So what am I doing? I focus on my go-getter group. So how do we get people into a private community, the go-getter community on Facebook? And then I do in-person meetings. So the go-getter group is on Fridays. We meet at 9 a.m. They're doing that now.
And what is the purpose of the Go-Getter group?
So I've been a part of a couple of different masterminds, and that's what the go-getter is. It's access to me to help you grow your business, right? And what's crazy is like how much it actually sharp. And we know this, like we definitely know this. But being in a room with people who are trying to get better, well, over the last few weeks, I've been taking them through different series. So we did a brand series, did a calendar series. Here in a couple of months, we'll do an AI series. How are we using it? Because that's like clearest advantage coming about. And it's been awesome. So we do wins. Hey, what are your wins for this week? Always trying to be positive. We talk about someone puts on the hot seat, means what are your business issues? What are you having trouble with? And then, you know, maybe 20, 30 minutes of a worksheet. Like, hey, just work on how do you implement it?
So when people ask, William, what do you do? Like, how do you describe what you do? Do you say, I'm an entrepreneur? I'm, what is it?
I always work through that. So depending on, I make it contextual. So Raul's like, hey, man, what do you do? And I would say, well, you know what it's like to get out of the military, right? That transition, you know how hard it is? Man, I struggled there too. But what really got me out of it was a clarity. And what I didn't realize is I doubted myself. And I still do sometimes. And so what I do is I help people in that same situation who are doubting themselves in their business or in their new role be affirmed in who they really are.
Oh, shit. You answered the question with like
Story.
I see what you did there. It took me a minute. I was like, wait, is he talking to me?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it is. It's I probably have 100 versions of that, right? I try to make it contextual to who we are. If we're in real estate, I'll tell them the same thing. You know, like, hey, you know what it's like to be in real estate and not know anybody? I know exactly what that's like. I transitioned to Pearland out of the Army, and you don't know anybody. And so how do you continuously build this? Well, first of all, you have to eliminate the doubt, right? You affirm who you are and the skills that you did before, and that's what I help business owners do. It's the same thing. It's just totally different.
Yeah, I see that, man. Yeah.
Practice, brother, practice.
Yeah. How's everything been though, man? How's the family? How's everyone doing?
Doing well. You know, life is in seasons is what I tell folks. I've got a 16-year-old daughter. She'll be a junior. I've got a 14-year-old son. He'll be a freshman. High school. Man, crazy. And then I've got two girls that are 10 and 8, and they're 5th grade. in third
Yeah.
or fourth grade. We homeschool them, so it's always like fluid.
They're all back to school other than the two littles?
No, just the older.
Yeah, good.
Just the older two are in school. The two littles are still homeschooled. We've got a good community now that make some of the people that come to the Go Getter group.
Mm.
They have homeschool kids too, and so I try to make sure that the group we have like space for our kids to come, because one of the things I figured out over the last, I would say, 6 months is my target audience is more than likely women. Women who are in that transition, who probably have kids, trying to build a side hustle, trying to run their homes, who are maybe a little ashamed of their story. I help them lean into that and then lead.
Well, from your experience, ashamed of what though? Like just being the mother, the stay-at-home mom?
Well, I mean, it's what's interesting is I relate a lot to that, right? Just not having the courage enough to know your own story. I mean, you and I have had many conversations, and we've been on other podcasts where we share things that it's like, hey, man, I don't know how the heck you got that out of me.
Yeah.
But, there's always things that I think we cover up from our past, and we try to we can feel the shame. And I'm like, no, lean into it. Lean into it. You're a better leader than you are. And this is what I tell a lot of the women in my life. Like, you're a big influence in my life. My mother, my grandmother, my aunt, my sister is like, I was raised by women. And so I can empathize with it, even though I can't relate directly to them. I can just say, like, the way you led your life helped me be that. And that's what I try to help other women do. Is like, lean into your strengths, lean into what makes you you. Like, you have a lot of value. And some of it's an internal mindset. Some of it sometimes is we're just listening to something that someone may have said when we were a little kid and you still.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, you got to learn to let that go. That's not really who you are. That was somebody else's voice.
Yeah. Man, that's crazy. So, I see you're just involved in the city. So you're always at the chamber events. Are you associated with the Chamber of Commerce at all?
Yeah, I have been a member of the Pearland Chamber of Commerce for probably 3 or 4 years. I think my first membership came with the Pearland podcast.
Yeah.
And then my wife's business joined, and then my coaching business joined. So I've always been involved with the chamber for many different ways. And what's interesting is we just had Isela Craig at our Go Getter group. We have guest speakers, and she shared something very similar. It was like, get in when you're transitioning. You don't need anybody. Get involved with the chamber, as much as you can. Volunteer for those roles. I became an ambassador, and now I'm kind of I'm a member. I attend the events as an ambassador, and I'm just continuing to learn how to use different platforms to be involved.
Yeah, that's good. With your experience in business and leadership, what's the biggest leadership mistake you see business owners making?
I think the hardest thing that business owners tend to do is isolate themselves, thinking that, they're the drivers. They're very slow to make the decision, right? So it's like, you've learned things that I don't know, and we should be finding that similar community instead. And so the biggest leadership that you can make is taking a little too much time to find. I know that what was my, and
like to find your voice,
to find your community.
Okay.
You don't have to do it alone.
Right.
Any decisions you make, you can feel very isolated. Like, everything falls on me. It's all my thing. And as a business owner, yes, I tell a lot of folks, like, I understand that part of it, but you have got to be quick in your decisions. And so if you're lacking in one part, then go find a community, go find a space that allows you to get more information faster.
Yeah. So what's a leadership lesson that you had to learn the hard way that you look back now and be like, damn, I should have known better?
The one thing that came up fairly recently, is it's not just business.
Yeah.
Business is relation.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, business is relationships. And I'm a relational person, and I've tried to be like, okay, well, this is just a business decision. And I get that, but there's still a human on the other side of it, right? There's still a person on the other side of it. There's still a relationship that go there. And it's not just employees, it's also customers, like, I've known this, people buy into you because of who you are, what I do. That's why folks are attracted to what I'm doing, because who I am at home and who I am at work, they're the same person. Like, you see online and what you see in person, it's the same, and when I try to separate it, or especially early on, it put my foot in my mouth, man. And it was like, man, that was.
I think a lot of shit, a lot of stuff was more like, I guess the saying to say is business is not personal. Is it you're saying like a saying like that does not fly?
No, I mean, not for me.
Yeah.
Not for me. I mean, with this whole rise of AI, you can see that a lot of people can make a lot of money with just like a small business, right? But at the end of the day, I really think that that's just the gold rush. I really think that people still want the genuine connection. Like
Right.
that's what's missing with the AI piece. Is a lot of people are selling or agents or their thing, but if I don't trust you as a person, that's still the part that's missing. Yes, you may be solving my problem, but a lot of people like, I want to know, I want to talk to someone, I want to hear somebody, I want to know like you can relate to me. It's the human factor connection. And so that's one thing that I have seen over biggest mistake that I've made was early on. I remember saying that, hey, this is just, and I'm like, that ruined a relationship where now I was on the other side of it recently where somebody said, it's just business. And I was like, oh man, that's what it feels because it's not. I don't do business with people who aren't my friends, who I don't believe in, who I don't trust.
Right.
And if I make that mistake, then it does feel like it's just a transaction, and it's not. You know, people are spending their hard-earned money on you to solve their problem, and there's a whole story behind that. Like they put in their blood, sweat, and tears to make this money. Like my money could have went somewhere else to somebody I trusted who would have developed better, but it's hard to separate.
Yeah.
I don't think you can.
I feel you. I mean, you got to do business with people that you like, and then sometimes just the fit isn't the fit when it comes to accepting business. Yeah, I've had a few people that I turned away from the podcast studio just because, I mean, one, I didn't want to hear it. you know what I mean? I mean, it sounds crazy, but it's true. And then, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, man. I think that is a sign of growth when you can be like, I'm turning away or I'm letting go of this client because they don't fit what I. That's you're turning away, money. That's when it's like it's not a transaction.
Yeah.
It's a relationship. Like I'm taking your money because I know I'm going to provide so much value for you, give you what you do want. This isn't just hey, I need a parking space.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's not. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that.
Yeah, I remember at one point we'd take anything, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't care who you were or what you were saying. I was like, yeah, I'd listen. Man, now it's not like, man, I don't know if I'll stay awake during it.
Yeah. Yeah. You I think in the beginning, a lot of businesses are that way. And over time, you realize just how valuable your own time is compared to what you're getting paid.
Yeah. Putting a value on your time has always been the hardest thing in business. I'm sure you know that too, especially with like pricing yourself. You don't want to like I want to charge this much, but I don't want it to be. I want it to be my worth. And then you look at other places and like, damn, they're charging way more over there, or they're charging less over there. But then you're trying to compete, and I mean. Yeah, I guess just, I don't know what I was trying to say.
No, yeah, pricing is very hard for a lot of business owners. And my coach, I remember his story. He said he started out with, $50 an hour. And I was like, okay, you want people to pay something. And outside of what I'm doing, it doesn't matter what anybody else, so a different podcast studio could be charging more or less, but that's them. Your processes, what you've got, what you get when you get to the Paradigm podcast. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? And that's what I love. That, and this is what I'll tell folks. This is my plug for Paradigm Podcast Studios. It's a constant improvement. That's one of the things that we learned in the military. Always improve your fighting position.
Yeah, man.
Leave the place better than when you got it. So you're constantly improving it. And that's everything. So. Eventually I may have to raise my prices, but if I feel good about what I'm charging, then that's what I'm going to go do. I try not to worry about others are doing. They may help set my price, but a small business owner or a new business owner, like, if you feel it's good, then go what you feel. Don't worry about what.
Yeah, I think with some of the things too, when I did like a price increase, but I was like, okay, I got a bachelor's in cinematography now. I can say that, which was kind of like, oh, yeah. And so it's funny, but then you have the qualifications now, and you can say these things like, okay, this is what I've done. This is how I perfected the craft, or I'm still working on it because, technology changes so much every day. And then with AI, it's just, I don't even know anymore.
Is that the first time you said that on a podcast?
I think so.
Brother,
Yeah.
that is badass.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Because I remember, getting started and like, truthfully, and I've said this was like the hardest thing the thing that I know we struggled with was like the lighting. And I remember you going like, yeah, I'm going to a class for lighting. I'm gonna get I was like, what, dude? How crazy is this? And hear you say that, man. I'm really proud of you. That's
man.
awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, I would say like, thank you for setting that example, because it's freaking awesome.
It was a hard, a bunch of late nights and hard time, and just like, but I did it. And if I honestly, I know people say this a lot, but if I did it, for real, anyone can do it because I did it. You know what I mean? It's just crazy, man.
And with the newborn.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. Oh my baby.
I know.
Yeah. Hey, what's some of the toughest business challenges you've ever faced? Let's say you faced. What's some of the toughest business challenges? Because you got a lot of businesses. You got your hands in a lot of things.
Yeah. You know what? For me, it always goes back to finances and having those difficult conversations.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing.
Oh, man.
So if you're by yourself, being honest about what you're spending, a lot of business owners will go and operate. And this is, man, I love talking to entrepreneurship. And I love talking to new entrepreneurs, and I tell them, like, you don't need a fancy business plan to get started. Go get started, and you can figure it out. But the most difficult piece really is finances. Are you set up correctly? Do you have an LLC? Do you have your DBAs, business accounts? Are you separating your accounts? Are you separating your money? How you're invoicing? Like, and then when you bring another person into it, like it gets hard to like share everything, because then you get a little shy about like, well, yeah, that's not necessarily a business purchase. I've shared this too with I just came into a rental business, and now, we're at the point now where it's like, okay, let's open up the books and let's figure out where all the money's actually going. And for him, it's easy. He's like, okay, I can tell you exactly where it's going. But for me, coming into someone's business, it can be challenging, because it's like, what are you going to uncover?
Yeah.
And I have my baby sister. She's in cosmetology, and it's like, okay, well, or she's an esthetician. So it's like, how much are you spending on your thing? How much are you getting kickback? Or what can you add on that's really cheap but high profit margins? And she's like, oh. And I'm like, okay, well, that's the most difficult thing for everybody. It's just, can we talk about money without it being an attack on like, hey, you're bad.
No, yeah, that was definitely mine. I know that for a fact, because I was, when I first started business, I was doing everything everywhere, just accounts, just money, just accounts everywhere, didn't personal business. And it's finally when I was like, okay, I need to start this over. And then I need to be like, okay, all right. So now when I go to Walmart and I buy something for the business, I go back in the books and I put purchased, whatever. It's just, it's crazy. And I wasn't like that at the beginning. So actually, I think that was a big part that I learned from you. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, man. No, it's great. You mentioned a couple of different businesses. My wife and I have a shaved ice eliminate business. And it's very similar, because we're married and our budgets, obviously we have a shared account, and then we have this business account, and it's like, who's actually in charge of it? And I think that's another point, is like, okay, if you're in charge of it, it doesn't mean that I have oversight or you can control it all. It's just who's responsible for actually making sure the taxes get.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's the most difficult part of running the business. But there's so many perks on the other side of it. I was just talking to my dad about this, because he's about 2 years from retirement, and I've always said, like, I could see my guy working together somewhere. I was like, but, you know, so he's 100% disabled too now.
Yeah, working where or doing what? Like a
Uh,
side hustle?
yeah, maybe some
Hmm.
consulting or going, because he's in safety.
Okay, okay,
And
yeah,
so I can
yeah,
see us going in together to doing some consulting for, you know, safety standpoint, or, you
yeah,
know, maybe there's because he's really involved in waste management or the waste sector. So driving, you know, I'm like, he's got a lot of experience. He knows a lot about training. He's just, so I digress. What I was telling them is like, when you get into business, you know, now your phone plan gets covered by business.
right, right,
So
right.
even though you're making, let's say, $100,000 on this contract, part of that is paying for your phone bill. Part of that's paying for your office space. Part of
Mm.
it's paying for your health insurance, which you already are paying for now. It's just giving it to the business to pay. So now your take home only like 30 grand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But on the other
All
side,
your bills.
yeah.
Yeah,
And the one meal you go eat out, business expense because I went out with Raul and we're talking, or he comes out with me and we're having a meeting about, you know, how we're gonna handle this contract. Well, that meal,
yeah,
you know, so it's like the little things like that that you can actually start to manage.
yeah. And you definitely have to do your studies on it and figure out. I guess I don't want to say tricks, but tricks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with, like, I mean, mileage. You
Yeah.
know, if, his own truck, and so that's what I was telling him. He was like, "Well, I can only make a certain amount." Like, yeah, and you will, like, because most of your money, most of your take-home money, you know, by the time you actually take it home, half of it's already gone. Business took care of both.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's tricks. We could get more into that, but let's
It's
do it
crazy.
off the camera.
Yeah.
When did you first feel like your business was going to be successful, man? Because you got, let's say Snowy. You guys are everywhere. I know this is the hit season, right?
Yeah. Summertime.
Yeah. So, well, how does it feel, man? Do you make contracts, or is that just your wife doing all that on that business?
So with that business, I would say she's the operator, and I do treat it more like a coaching, like, hey, where are we at? How do I get you to the next level? How do I help you in your business? So I kind of
Hmm.
treat her like a consulting, like I'm consulting her in this. Uh, Although half the time I'll go work the event because
Yeah.
my goal for my wife is for her to be more of the GM, setting all the things up, doing all the back end. Um, and then when it comes to working, like if it's a Saturday, I'll go work. I like it. It's like there's just something about making lemonade, you know, like
Yeah.
working with your hands, making a product, people are buying it. It's a fun. There's a hustle. Uh, but you know, you mentioned like, how do you know when we're going to be successful? I just feel like we there's a stubbornness that comes with being in business, you know, and we're at the point where we just know if we can get to certain seasons, we'll be okay. The July's coming. So 4th of July, God willing, weather's good, it'll be super good, you know, and
Yeah.
that's our busiest day of the year because it's July.
Yeah.
4th of July, it's hot. It's summer. People want to be outside. People want to come. We'll be at Pearland, Independence Park.
Mm.
People want to come and they're willing to spend money, and we're going to turn out a good product. People are going to be happy. And like, so if there was like a certain moment, um, you know, I knew we were tracking when the Galveston County and Iowa gave us an award for like the veteran-owned business of the
Yeah.
year. That was cool. So that was
That's
like
what's up.
that was an outside recognition of like, hey, not only are you active in doing what you do, but your business is growing too. We still got a lot of learning to do, but man, it's cool.
So what's next for that? Like I know you have now when you and your wife sit down and y'all plan what's next for Snowy. What's next for Snowy?
Yeah. What is next is we have this bus that is it needs to be rewrapped, but we'll rewrap it and then we'll have that one out there working
Yeah.
too. You know, my oldest is 16 now. I don't think she can drive that, but I know that this business is something we can do for a solid 10 to 15 years
Yeah.
as ours. And so the goal is to just continue to keep those running for the kids so they have something to do as they get older. And then I kind of think my wife keeps tiptoeing and trying to do something else too. Like she's interested in just different businesses. Like, is there something I can do Monday through Friday or throughout the week? And then for me, as I get the group going, it pushes me as a coach, as a consultant, to learn the front edge. And one thing I've heard is you just have to be a few steps ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
And that is where like this group has really helped me do that, because I'm hearing it firsthand. What are you dealing with? And right now everybody's like, how do I get better at AI? And so that's the thing that I will start teaching, which will lead me to more opportunities like at AAA, where I'm learning to use AI in this old business to bring up the brand while using my personal touch, bring up the brand, decrease the cost, and figure out how we, get back to being number one in Pearland.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's awesome.
Because you do it with this business, and then the next person sees you, and they're like, hey, come help me my business.
Yeah.
And the next person sees you.
That's
like,
good.
And
Yeah.
that's what I really think is next for
Yeah.
me personally.
Really? So that's what you see like in a few years for each business?
That's what I see in a few months.
Yeah. Man, I like that.
I'm not even trying to be like,
No. That's the way to do it. The way you said that right now is just,
yeah, because it's in the works, it's happening. Being with the podcast studio has shown me a lot about brand, and I've taught that. And now it's like using brand and AI and automation to really scale it. I think that's where we're at, man. So everything can happen a lot faster than what you actually think it is, because all of the breakthrough in technology.
what's something big that people don't understand about being a small business owner?
The generational effects you have.
Yeah. Like making that hustle mentality.
A little bit, all the intangibles that you're showing your kids, the work ethic, the hustle, like learning marketing, learning networking, how to speak for yourself, like how to shake someone's hand, how to not be afraid to talk to other adults, how to get help from somebody else. I think that is underrated. Nobody understands.
Yeah.
So I read a lot of books, but one of the things that I was reading, and I've been focused on the last few months, is like the way God works in generations. My parents worked their butts off so that right now, me and my siblings, we don't have a full-time job. Not one of us has a full-time.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that's because before that, my grandfather and my grandmother had full-time jobs, and they worked their butts off, which taught my parents their work ethic. Because we always want better for the next generation. And now I learned that work ethic, and I'm able to put it into this businesses. And now my kids get to see, and they're like, the world, they can do anything that they want to do. You want to go be a lawyer? Cool. You want to, my son's in cheer. You want to do just to learn that skill. It's crazy what it teaches you.
There's a saying that goes, actually, I don't know how it goes, but I'm going to tell you like the gist of it. So it's like let's say your grandparents drove a Ford Pinto. Your dad drove a Chevrolet. You drove a BMW. Your kids drive a Mercedes. And once it gets like to the generation of Lamborghini or something along those lines, then it goes back down because they forgot how to do the hustle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just I don't know if I said that.
No, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Do you think that's true?
More than likely, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, who's to blame? The parents, man.
Yeah.
You got to teach them. You got to teach them the hustle. My kids have seen what I did in the military, and I think that my older two, especially, my younger ones, are definitely a little more spoiled.
Yeah.
There is an 8-year gap between them, but I've just learned to make it hard for them, I guess. Not on purpose, not like take things away from them, but still try to push them, like not staying true to your commitments. Like even a small example, like my daughter, the 8-year-old, she's in swim, and there's times where she doesn't want to go to practice, and I'm like, you're already committed to practice, you want to go to practice, even though you're whining. Like the hardship is still on me to make you follow through with it, because you don't know how to do that yet. So still like instilling those lessons, so why did you go from a Lamborghini to a Pinto? Well, it's because of the parents, you know?
Mhm.
And then there's a personal accountability in there. You can only do so much until they turn 18 and then they're on their own.
Right.
Right. But you still have to take some responsibility, right? Because again, for me, thinking things of generation, like how do I set them up to set up, just crazy.
It is crazy. What does success look like to you versus 10 years ago, man? Like when you think of success now versus to what you thought success was 10 years ago.
All right. So I'm 41, success 10 years ago.
Damn.
I know. I was 31. I was still in the military.
Yeah.
So, you know, success 10 years ago was probably reaching that retirement, right? Reaching retirement, retiring from the military, and then finding work, and then, you know, living a comfortable life, probably. Now, success for me is making other people successful. You know, I think it was Zig Ziglar that says it, you know,
Who?
Zig Ziglar, and he says,
The porn star?
no, the motivational guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
my bad.
Yeah,
My bad.
he says,
I was thinking Dirk. Zig.
yeah,
Yeah. My bad.
Dirk Diggler.
Yeah, my bad.
No, he says, Zig Ziglar says, you know, like I think he says, like one of the keys to success is to make other people successful. Like if you can make other people successful, you'll be successful.
Yeah.
And a lot of the books I read, I always go back to like, I've shared this many times. My one quote that I love, like Leo Tolstoy, is the sole meaning of life is to serve humanity. On the way over here, I was reading a book called The Courage to be Disliked, and they're like the purpose of living is to serve another person.
Mhm.
And I'm like, that for me, that's what success is. It's making other people successful. You know, there's nothing that I can take with me, but if I can give all of my skills away to make you successful, then, you know, I'll have some type of legacy, like long lasting legacy. I think that's, you know, like all of the things, all the seeds that I plant now, I'll never be able to see, right? Or I'll never be able to see the maturation of it. But it's that for me is successful. Like if I can leave one conversation with one little nugget,
Yeah.
it's a good day.
Just I feel that. You know, it reminded me of I heard a guy I asked him one time, I said, what's the worst piece of advice you ever got in your life? And he said, do what makes you happy. And I was like, what? And he's like, do what makes you happy is the worst piece of advice because that's so selfish. And so like he broke it down and I was just like, it made sense, man. Yeah. So just I don't know why that came to my head when I first.
Because it's like, I do, you know, I mean, I go I'm all over the place sometimes with motivation. And I think if you're chasing that happiness feeling, you know, like it's not always fulfilling, you know,
Yeah.
like doing what makes you happy, like restoring our relationship probably wasn't the easiest thing to do. Right. But like, you're like, I'm going to do it anyways because it's worth it. Or, you know, going to pick up trash, it doesn't make you happy the first time you do it.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like it's hard, but there is strength in doing it. So that's a pretty good, I like that one.
That's what's up, man. What's something personally you're still working on?
Man, something personal that I am still working on. The thing that comes to mind is my relationship with my kids. You know, my older two are from my ex-wife, and so that's the hardest thing is that, you know, their parents aren't together for them. I think that's so difficult. They don't truly understand it. As good of a father as I've been, you know, there's still that pull to go be with mom, want to live with mom, and so they're going to go live with mom. But and so for me, it's just like, how do I continue to show up for them? How do I continue to be there for them while also taking care of my household, people who do live in my house? The girls, they don't have a choice, of course. Both their parents are married. So, you know, I think that's
to each other.
Yeah, I think that's true. That's the hardest thing that I'm working on now. You know, I think probably going to be a lifelong thing with our kids.
I definitely feel what you're saying. Because the father I am today wasn't the father I am for Faith or Layla for that matter. You know what I mean? They're seeing something different as Charlie's growing up, and then Aubrey's experiencing something that she's never experienced. You know what I mean? And it's just hard because I do things with Aubrey and Charlie, and I like makes me like I didn't get to do this with Layla or Faith. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely do. I think my older two see, the younger girls being homeschooled and the things we get to do, and I know they get jealous sometimes because it's hard because they'll be with their mom this weekend, and so it's like, well, what are we going to do? Are we supposed to live in? But I think that's the thing that I mean I'm blessed. I still have both my parents in my life, and it just gives me a greater appreciation for them, because they were 19 and 17 when I was born, and then an older, more mature version when they had my sister, 5 years
Yeah.
later, and then even more, or 8 years later, they had my baby sister. So, I'm like, man, each one of us has a different version of our parent,
Yeah, that's true. I feel that.
and I feel that way with my kids. Each kid has a different version of
Yeah.
Belle obviously has grown with me the most because she's 16. She saw me when, I was 20.
Yeah, man. Faith has seen every one of my mug shots, bro.
Mm.
Yeah. And it's just, well, not all of them. Well, from her 21 years of life, yes. Man, what's let's say when you think of the business side of things, what's something that you would consider the worst piece of business advice you ever got?
And that somehow I knew this question was going to come, and I think the biggest thing, the only thing that comes to mind is that you can't, you
Yeah.
can't, like it says,
Yeah. Hold this. Let me show you.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then unfortunately, I'm sure there's a lot of folks out there that are hearing that from just different sources, family, because it's like their projected fears, and I've had a very encouraging family, so none of my family's ever told me I can't, but I've heard it in different ways from different people, and I'm like, who are you? So on the other side of that is don't listen to advice from people that you wouldn't, or don't listen to criticism from people you won't take advice from.
Yeah. Or don't listen at all.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, man. What was I gonna say? I was gonna ask you something, but I completely forgot. No. Okay, so you do a lot of speaking engagements. That's one thing I wanted to say. So you do a lot of public speaking. And when it comes to public speaking for me, I always get nervous as shit.
Yeah.
And I try not to cuss, but I always end up doing it. And then, so what is something embarrassing or something that you thought that's happened to you during a speaking engagement? Do you have something like that?
Oh man. Let me see. So something that embarrassing that's happened,
Yeah.
or kind of stepped on my own foot there. I think I can't think of anything really embarrassing like that, but I can tell you there was one that I did for University of Houston Clear Lake, for their military veterans one, and for that one, I feel like I prepared well, but I feel like it didn't land
Yeah.
for me. Like it was, if I had to rank them all, that was probably
Was
the
it like
worst one.
jokes that didn't hit or what?
No, I felt like I probably just rambled along, but I was really, really trying to be like polished and
Oh,
like,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
was
yeah.
going in there nervous, not really sure what to expect or who was in the room. I felt like I did everything I should have done. I was there early. Oh, I was there earlier in the day. I did a walkthrough. I did my speech, but it was just something that was off. Like it didn't resonate, even though actually Eli.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah,
ain't seen
yeah.
that dude in a long time.
They're active in the chamber now because he works at Galveston. I digress. So
Shit,
there was
somebody
there was a
different.
few people that came up afterwards and said it was really good, but I just felt like, man, like I felt like I was trying to be a different type of speaker than what I'm used to.
Yeah.
Like I like to go up there, I like to walk the stage. I'm comfortable with that. I like to take Q&As, but it was almost like I was trying to address it as a commencement speech, and that's not for me. That's not how I would have done it. Like that's
Yeah.
not authentically me.
Yeah.
And so I was this was probably 2 or 3 years ago. So it just wasn't where I should.
I've done a couple speaking engagements, and a couple of them, man, I was like, you know what? When I felt like really uncomfortable, I was on the verge of probably just taking my shirt off and pulling like a Burt Kreischer, you know what I'm saying? Just to be like, all right. But and then I calmed myself down and decided that would not be the best option.
If I'm going viral for this.
Yeah. I took my pants off instead of my shirt.
Yeah. I wasn't supposed to do that.
Yeah.
No, man, speaking's crazy.
Yeah.
It is. And the last time I saw you speak was at 1 Million Cubs, which was awesome.
Oh, yeah, man. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun. I was a little nervous, just because, like,
a little bit.
I'm not sure how people,
you.
people know you, but
Yeah.
they don't know you.
Yeah.
And, when people come up to you and be like, oh, man, I didn't know that about you. It's like, yeah. Because I don't wear the shirt often. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't wear I shouldn't make some shirts with my mug shots on. For the whole month of July.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, I feel like I feel like those are the things that we hold on to, right? Like that's how we imagine ourselves, right? Like there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're able to see the progress and like that's not me anymore. But we forget that there's a whole new audience of people who don't know our entire story because for you and I, most of it's been online. I mean, I've been super active online, and so like I shared one of the very first videos that I made, and I was like, dang, I had stubble.
I think I texted you, did I?
Yeah.
I was like, yo, did you upload the wrong video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, I forget, that it doesn't matter how many times I've said something. It's always hitting a new audience. There's always people who don't know me, who haven't seen. And so that's why I talk about brand a lot, because it's being authentically you, because there are new people that you're going to reach, even though your audience, and I even told a friend of mine this, and I was like, I know you follow me because you comment, but there's no way you've seen every piece of content. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no way. So I can reshare it, recycle it. It's crazy how we've changed. And like we go speak in front of an audience, you're like, oh, they don't even know who I am.
I read an article in the Army Times, which I can't stand that paper, but I watch it. I listen to it occasionally. Not listen to it, but I read the article. So they're doing more, in Texas especially, doing more access to cannabis for veterans to deal with a lot of issues. How do you feel with something like that? Is that something you would?
Well, we had the guy on from the podcast about just talking about ayahuasca, and I think it's a great start. I think it's a different flavor for every person.
Yeah.
Well,
they're doing it with I almost said LSD, but that's not right. MDMA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
MDMA.
MDMA. Is that it? Yeah. Well, they used to call it ecstasy in my day. I don't know what it's called now.
I don't know what it's called on the
Yeah,
street.
yeah.
Right? I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm for it. I think there's a lot of natural things out there, and I've always heard good things from folks who do it intentionally with the
Purpose.
of trying to get better. I mean, I see it just with my dog, like I love having her around. I see it. I went on a trip recently to Austin, and I didn't have my dog for 3 days, and I was on high alert. And I told my wife, man, you've had to deal with me like this from before.
Yeah.
Since I got out, because there's just something about having her around where it's like I can go outside, I can walk around, and I was doing all the things right. Like I was still up in the morning, I was still reading the Bible, all of my natural routine, but not having my dog there really did turn on this like high alert anxiety, and I don't really deal with those things.
Why didn't you take the dog?
The person I stayed with asked me to leave my dog at home because they have a cat.
Oh.
And they're renting, and so they were like, hey, you might
No,
leave your dog.
that makes sense.
And this was the Thursday before we left, so I was like, yeah, I can do it. I didn't think. Plus, we also went to go float the river, and it was like my dog don't like water.
Yeah, that'd been weird.
She don't like water.
What's a hard truth that veterans understand that civilians don't?
The cost of the freedom.
Yeah.
The cost of freedom. We just talked about it on Memorial Day, and I've been talking about it a lot. Like Memorial Day is my third favorite holiday. one of the things I do whenever I open up a networking thing or I give a class, like an icebreaker. What's your third favorite holiday? For me, I talk about Memorial Day. For me, it's a day that's deeply rooted in gratitude, and that's what I have for all of our freedoms. It's like you don't realize it. Immigrants too. I think we've had a lot of conversations like that where immigrants and veterans have this commonality where we realize the opportunities we have right here in America. You know, it's not perfect. We know that. But like better than a lot of other places we've been to. I think otherwise they wouldn't have immigrated to come here or and we've seen the actual cost. So it's like, yeah, it's not perfect.
It's definitely
Get
not.
involved. You know?
Well, and then again, when they show it on TV, they show like all these different country flags that people are waving, which probably none of those people ever been in those countries. You know what I mean? And it's just, you know, and then
I mean, I went to high school too, you know, where guys would, you know, love their Mexico and El Salvador, and I'm like, I get it, you know, like it's great, but
I do.
your heritage is great.
USA.
That's what I say.
Oh yeah.
Your
Okay,
heritage
I
is
get
great.
you.
Like I understand.
Yeah.
Then your parents are from there, but you know, all these years later, you're adults now, and you're still waving the same flags, and it's like, I mean, I'm also like a sports fan, so I'm from Houston. I would never cheer for a different team.
No.
So I don't get when people from Houston cheer for Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, or being in San Antonio and you cheer for the Cowboys. I'm like, you don't even go here. You know what I mean? I'm like, we have a team. Cheer for your team.
all of them.
You know, like the grassroots stuff. Like this is my city where I'm rooting for here no matter what.
I think the only thing when it comes to like I'm rooting for different teams like that is when it's college sports. Like with college football, I'll be like anything Texas. You know what I'm saying? So other than that,
I don't have a dog in the fight.
It's got to be Houston. You know. Other than that,
No, but I that's what I think is true. You know, veterans, we know the cost of this freedom. We know that this place, this America is one of the best countries, and you can have all the arguments out there, and I've heard them, you know, well, what about the tax rate and the insurance? And I was like, then make it better.
Yeah.
Then do what you can to make it better.
Get involved.
You know? I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah.
Make it better. Get involved. Start the business.
And you can't complain about somebody trying to make a difference if you don't got the balls to do it yourself. And I could have said that probably more politically correct, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
Thank you all for listening to Charlie Mike, the podcast. This is me, Soldier Hard with Redcon One Music Group, and we out.